Welcome, NBA fans, to a special edition of preview videos. My name is Sammy Long. Alan asked me to do some preview videos on the Eastern Conference Finals, the Western Conference Finals. So this will be our first for Pacers and Knicks at the Garden Game 1. Going to be a really exciting series. I think this one's probably going to go away. Currently, the Knicks are minus 150 to win the series, with the Pacers being plus 125. So edge to the Knicks, but I do think that there's a real case for the Pacers to be made, and probably would be a pick 'em had it not. Game 7 would be at the Garden if it did get there. So how did both these teams get here? No one expected these two teams to be here. And if you did, you are a very rich person in Vegas. Shout out to you, because they were heavy dogs in multiple series. Everyone expected the Celtics to kind of mop the Knicks, considering the Knicks couldn't really beat the upper tier competition in the regular season, mainly being the Cavs and the Celtics. And on the Pacers side of things, playing a Cavs team that was number one for most of the season. Most of the season, they were, to make a case outside of Oklahoma City, the best team in basketball. And then playing a Bucks team that was kind of a pick 'em series. People really went back and forth on that, whether they could beat Giannis. And Dame Lillard was hurt, and then unfortunately got hurt at the end of that series. But I mean, crazy. These two teams are matching up. There was a real narrative surrounding the NBA and media about, would the Cavs or the Celtics see a Game 7 before they even got to the Eastern Conference Finals? That was how much people kind of thought this was going to be a shoo-in for the Eastern Conference Finals, and they thought a lot of the kind of fun matchups would be in the West, where you could make a lot of different cases for a lot of different teams to win the championship. But kudos to these teams for getting here. I think it's going to be an excellent series. And kind of heading to my next point, who will shine brighter, Brunson or Haliburton? There's been a lot made about what does it take to be the face of the NBA, with kind of LeBron getting older, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in the Western Conference preview. Jalen Brunson or Haliburton, what defines the face of the NBA? Is it charisma? Is it your highlights? Is it your accolades, your winning? Is it being a big personality on the mic? Is it, what really goes into it? And both these guys are going to be kind of thrust into a realm of superstardom, regardless of who wins, that they just haven't seen before. Brunson kind of has the leg up there, considering he's played in Dallas, big market, and then New York, a massive market. But real kind of underdog story with him. A guy who's 6'1", second-round pick that you looked at and was, a lot of people, even after he balled out for the Mavericks alongside Luka Doncic, people just really didn't give the respect to, thinking that he couldn't really be the number one on a team. That's why the Mavs let him walk. And he's completely disproving that narrative and been excellent for the New York Knicks. And then in Tyrese Haliburton's regard, this is a guy who was traded from the Sacramento Kings, a guy who made Team USA, didn't play because he was young, didn't really complain about it. And it feels like, this Pacers team, really good the last couple of years, and people just don't really give him credit. And Tyrese Haliburton, seeing him evolve from a kind of pure scorer shooter to kind of a traditional point guard distributor, but can also get his when he needs to. I think either of these guys who makes the finals is kind of going to be in that, enter the conversation of potential face of the NBA. Do you make a name for yourself? And if one of these guys wins a title, there's a real argument there. So looking at how these teams match up specifically, starting with the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, as we were just talking about, averages about 29 points per game in these playoffs, about 8 assists, and then he has a 3 assist to turnover margin, which is a ratio, which is amazing. That means that Jalen Brunson's taking care of the basketball. He's getting other people involved and not turning the ball over. Karl-Anthony Towns averaged about 20 points per game, about 11 rebounds per game. I think he's probably going to be the X factor for this series. That matchup between Miles Turner and Karl-Anthony Towns, who's going to win that? Because it's kind of a clash of styles. Miles Turner wants to play a stretch 5. He wants to get out and shoot threes and kind of be a really athletic hybrid 5 big. And then Karl-Anthony Towns has struggled in the playoffs so far shooting threes, but can kind of be a traditional big, but also has that range as well. I think whoever leads them in scoring could have a real impact on this series and who wins it. And then kind of going down, OG Anunoby, about 16 points per game in these playoffs, 5 rebounds per game, about 2 assists per game. Him and Mikal Bridges are the 2 defensive stoppers for the New York Knicks. They're excellent players, and we'll have a lot to prove in the series. Talking about Mikal Bridges, he also averaged about 15 points a game, about 5 rebounds per game, and also about 2 steals per game, as well as a block per game. So if you're going to play for Tom Thibodeau, you're going to play defense. And there's been a lot of criticism about Tom Thibodeau only playing 7 to 8 guys in his rotation and playing them all year. Usually you see kind of the bench players have more of a role during the regular season, and then the starters kind of take over in the playoffs. Not Tips or Tips. He will play him all year. There was a point during the season where Mikal Bridges actually asked to be played less because he wanted to save some of his legs. Caught a lot of criticism in New York for that, but it's kind of fair. Rounding out the starting lineup, Josh Hart averaging about 13 points a game, about 9 rebounds a game, 5 assists per game. Also has a 2.8 assist to turnover margin. He, as a, this is a Laker channel, as a former Laker, excellent player, all hustle player, gives great defense. Josh Hart's really fun to watch. And then coming off the bench, this is where we could see the Knicks have some problems. Again, they don't really have a bench. Miles McBride has hit some big shots in these playoffs, averaging about 6 points a game, 2.4 assists to turnover margin. And Mitchell Robinson averaging 4 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. This is going to be a real potential matchup because coming off the bench, we're going to get to the Pacers in a second. He'll be guarding Thomas Bryant. That's probably a favorable matchup for the Knicks and Mitchell Robinson. But something we saw in that Celtics series, they were kind of doing the hack-a-shack. They were fouling him, putting him at the free throw line because he can't shoot free throws. And it kind of played his way off the floor at times in that series. And then they had to put him back on because they wanted that size advantage that they had over the Celtics. But that's going to be something to watch. And Cameron Payne gets some spot minutes. He's played in all the games, but he's only played about 7 minutes per. So not some huge contributor as a veteran on the team. Average about 107 points per game, 43 rebounds per game, 20 assists per game. They only shoot 75% from free throw line, where actually the Pacers are at 79%. They take about 32 threes a game, and they make about 11. So this is a team that can score. But we can't forget, they got down big in those Celtics games, and they kind of came roaring back. Don't think you could be spotting this Pacer team with their pace of play that many points and expect to have too many comebacks in the series. Now talking about the Pacers, talking about their pace of play, they average about 118 points a game. So about 12 more than the Knicks. That's got to be something. Now, the Knicks play better defense than they do, so we're kind of going to see what's going to happen. What's going to give? Is it the Pacers' pace of play that's going to kind of win out and they might win the series, or are the Knicks able to slow it down, run more of a half-court game where the Pacers like to get out and run and gun a little bit? This Pacers team doesn't get enough love, I think, because it's Indiana, honestly. If this team was played in a bigger market, I really think that they would simply just be talked about more. Pascal Siakam leads the team 19 points a game, 6 rebounds a game. Tyrese Haliburton averaging. He's kind of changed the way he was. I was talking about earlier. He used to be kind of a pure scorer. He's kind of upped his ability to kind of be a distributor, averaging about 18 points a game, 9 assists per game in these playoffs, 6 rebounds a game, and a 4.4 assist to turnover margin. He's not turning the ball over. And that is something that has really plagued a lot of the teams that have been eliminated at this point in the playoffs. He's been fantastic. Miles Turner, as I mentioned, I think that's kind of where the series is won and lost, averaging about 17 points a game, 6 rebounds a game. Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith both average about 15 points a game, about 6 rebounds per game. They're out there for defense. And Nembhard ran with Brunson a lot last year when they met in the playoffs. He could not handle him. So it'll be interesting to see if they go with something else for Jalen Brunson. Do they try it again? Do they think that he's improved enough to where he can guard him in that regard? Be a storyline to watch. Ben Mathurin is a really interesting piece of this. 11 points per game, really talented player, lottery pick that came out of Arizona. There's been a lot written in Indianapolis about have they kind of underused him. He's got the talent, but they're kind of stockpiled at that guard spot. So it's kind of been an odd fit at times. But when he's on, he's a lethal scorer off the bench that probably, when his contract's up, will go get paid a massive amount of money somewhere else and go start for a lot of teams. He's the X factor. Can the Knicks guard him off the bench? And when he comes in waves after Tyrese Haliburton's been there and Pascal Siakam and guys, and considering that Tibbs doesn't take his guys off the floor, are they going to have the energy to stay with Mathurin? Because he can be a high-level scorer at times throughout the series. TJ McConnell, veteran point guard, about 9 points a game, about 5 assists per game. Obi Toppin, the former New York Knick, kind of a little storyline there, about 9 points a game. Ben Shepherd gets some run as well, Jarris Walker, and Thomas Bryant. As I mentioned, this team averages about 118 points per game, about 42 rebounds per game, about 30 assists per game. They shoot 35 threes a game, and they make 14 a game. So a little bit higher clip than the Knicks, but kind of ties back into the pace of play. They want to get out, kind of compare it to a Chip Kelly-style offense when he ran the Eagles back in the day. It was all about plays. Get as many plays in as possible, kind of see where the chips fall. They want to get out and run and gun, and the Knicks want to slow it down. So it's kind of going to see what's going on there, what breaks first, and then what is Vegas telling us? They're saying this is a pretty much, as I mentioned earlier, a pick'em series. The Knicks are minus 150 on the series price, but that has a lot to do with, I think, the fact that they would be favored in the Garden if it was Game 7 and it got there. assuming no injuries and things like that. They're currently favored by 4.5 in this in game one. The Knicks are the second favorite to win the title, with the Pacers being the fourth. But going back to what we talked about yesterday, I really think all four of these teams have a real case to win the title. I don't think there's a team that you're kind of just waiting for them to get out of there. There's some tough matchups all the way around. I'm going to pick the Knicks in 7. Tough. I was going back and forth on this one. I do think being at the Garden matters, and I think in a game 7 they would win. I feel like the Knicks are a little bit due, but I would not be surprised if the Pacers win this series. And can't wait for game 1. So appreciate everybody for listening, for tuning in. Kind of doing a new thing here with some preview videos for these. If you're new to the channel, appreciate you being here. If you've been here before, love you as always. And Alan's going to get you guys on the morning show tomorrow. Appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you.